AFTV, Gooner. 1-0 loss at Villa Park. We've dropped down to second in the table. Liverpool are now first. We're 1 point behind them. Overall thoughts on the game?
Do you know what? It's like, half an hour after the whole madness, and I kind of don't know how to feel, because there's parts of it which I'm happy with, the defence, the attacking emphasis that we're trying to put in there, but obviously the finishing was just absolutely poor. It was woeful, and I don't know how angry to be now, because we had the opportunity to show, I'm sure, put it out there that we are serious title challenges. I'm unhappy with the performance, and therefore, it's almost about, I don't know how to kind of really break it down. It's quite difficult, man. But
is it more frustrating that it's one of those ones where we look at the performance and I'm quite happy with the performance, but we've walked away with nothing? Isn't that more frustrating than that Newcastle game where we've lost 1-0, but even if that goal was disallowed, we didn't do much to win the game and it would have been a 0-0 anyway?
Do you know what? You're right. And I think when I'm now standing here, because we get time to kind of think about what we're going to say. I think the word that you've kind of been speaking about all season, I really saw it today with that connectivity and the lack of fluidity. And I'm seeing players like Martinelli not look to his normal level. We spoke about the whole Saka situation when he's being doubled up, and how is he going to find ways, or how is the manager or the assistant team going to find ways to kind of get him more chances and be more venomous in terms of his attacking play. Jesus, again, really good with connectivity, but he's getting those half chances and he's not taking them. But listen, for me, I think you have to look at Odegaard today and you have to look at Martinelli. They were absolutely, more so Martinelli, really poor in his attacking. And how many times did we keep saying, and I keep saying, take on your fullback, get him on a yellow card, and then kind of you can do your work, do your magic. But it's so predictable with some of these attackers at time. And as good as they are, 21, 22 years old, we're trying to win the league, so we have to put them at a level, and we have to judge them of that standard, because ultimately we're not going to be this elephant sitting on top of the tree for the whole season, and we're going to have hiccups like this, and we have to try to kind of think about how we went wrong and where we went wrong. So I think that word fluidity that you've been speaking about all season, I really saw it today, because we had more than enough chances to win today. We had more than enough, and I'm just sitting here thinking, or I'm standing there thinking to myself, bloody hell, like, what, am I angry, or am I just angry at the result? Like, I don't really know how to kind of, share my emotions. It's weird.
I'm frustrated that we didn't send the message, but I don't feel like anything's over, or my hope and confidence has been knocked. It's a weird one. And Martinelli, you're right. That's the sort of game Martinelli thrives in, space in front of him. And he had a hell of a lot of space in front of him. Credit to Zinni, he was finding him over the top quite often, especially in that second half. But nothing ever materialised from it. And I think that the same can be said about most of the attack, aside from Kai, who recently has been turning around people's opinions. I think he's the only one that deserves credit in the front six today. You said 100.
Yeah, listen, for me, people think it's a gimmick, people think I'm joking, but I really like Kai Havertz. I think he's someone who I'm seeing different sides to his game. I'm seeing an improvement. I'm seeing the work rate. But all of these things are null and void, because everybody keeps saying the same thing to me. We brought him to be an attacker. What is he doing going forward for us? And today, I saw him create 2 chances. I saw in the first game against Crystal Palace. So was it the first? Yeah, no, the second game against Crystal Palace. Martinelli, he sets through in the first 2 minutes. He doesn't take the chance. So there's been these moments that I'm seeing from him, and he's growing as a player in this team. And my thing is, what I'm liking about Havertz, at first it was he's not got no goals and assists. It was 008. Now it's, he's not running forward. But I'm seeing the whole thing for me now. So for me, listen, I'm part of that Kai Havertz Defence League. I think he's, I'm not saying he's amazing, but he's working towards earning off that £65 million. Now, ultimately, I said something on the watch-along, or the pre-watch-along, which was the starting 11, which is he's starting to earn off that £65 million. Maybe a bit overzealous with what I said, but it was more to say, look, these last-minute goals he's getting, the impact that he's making a difference for me. And that's what we want. We want to see it. Now, ultimately, the 65 million is going to be paid off if we win the league. So that's where I should have gone with it. But as we spoke about before, I just think people go too far left with the slander. And when he does a good performance like today, people want kind of go. So that's why maybe I'm going too far on the other side of it. So listen, I can hold my hands up for that. But today I thought he was really good. And
he put the ball in the back of the net.
Listen, if we talk about VAR, I mean, we know what it is, man. I don't know. I'm seeing people say it was a handball. I thought it wasn't a handball. I thought that was a disgraceful decision. But I'm going to have to see it back because I've only seen it live as everybody else. But for me, he did put the ball in the back of the net. And, we spoke about it. He's putting that fight on there. Like, at the end, he's going into Martinez. He's not one of them, just chatting. And he did the same thing at Newcastle. Sometimes, yeah, you might feel like he's losing his head, but he's showing fight. He's showing determination. I saw at the end of the game, these two little weasels, Martinelli and Cedric, chatting with Martinez. I'm like, bro, why? This is war. This is a fight. This is what we're going into. We're going into a battle. When we're going against the opposition, it's no play stuff. So I don't want to see our players at the end of the game, when you've got travelling fans and a late bloody December evening or night, chatting to opposition when he's the one geeing up the crowd. He's the one that's basically trying to stop us winning the game. So, and the way that Martinez has treated our bloody club when we gave him the opportunity, all of this pally business, man. Like, for me, shout out to Havertz today because he's showing me a bit more. He's moving me more in the sense of his intangibles and his tangibles. So, yeah, shout out to Havertz today, man. And long may it continue. But listen, overall, it's a really, really poor performance. With the finishing of it, I would say more so. The defending, some shaky moments, but listen, even Zinchenko, he got a yellow card in the first half. Fair play to him. He stepped it up. He didn't really get caught out too much. And I thought Saliba, imperious as normal. And lastly, Gabriel. But I think my last point is going to be, people know I don't rate Raya. I don't think, really and truly, as much as I think we're going to win the league, I just get a bit shaky when I do think about Ryan Go because I don't think he's good enough for us to win the league. But what I will say today, fair play, give him his credit because he stopped a few good opportunities for Aston Villa. And I have to be fair, like when a man steps up and does well, you have to give it out and you have to share that because you don't want to seem to be someone who's just down on a player unless it's Nketiah. I'm not bothered to say it. I can't stand him. I just think he's absolutely terrible. He came on in the last minute. I think the only touch I saw him make was the one where he ballooned it over the bar from a header. And he got I think he got an elbow from Carlos or Diego. Near the end, which obviously I believe it should have been a red card, but he's actually just woeful, to be honest. But listen, man, we move on to the next game. We got PSV. We have to beat Brighton because the game after that is scary hours, man. Scary hours. So yeah, long may it continue. This rubbish.
Love, bro.